Hello, this is Ioannis from Interverm Technology, and in this session I will show you some of the new features of the TermWeb 3.18 release. I'm starting by logging in, and for our TermWeb users, you're already familiar with this environment. Now you notice here on our term list that we have added the little arrow. And what this does is that while I click it, it expands the term list. This is, of course, very practical when you have a bit of a longer terms and you would like to see more of them, so to speak. But what is the main thing that we created here is a way to split the term list in two columns and create a side-by-side search. So what this means is that I have a left column, and when I enable the right column, it will appear, as you can see here, it appears on the side. And when I have the setting display terms on the right column, then it just simply displays the terms of the language that you have selected on this column. So for instance, let's say that I am searching for the word data. So I say, show me all the terms containing the word data in the English language, as you can see here. So I'm just searching, and I find all my English terms that have the data word in them on the left side. On the right side, I get a quick way of seeing, okay, the German terms already here in the list, the matching German terms for this search. So for instance, if I see basic data, I see that the German translation is Unterlagen. I can see, of course, also in my result, but just by using this setting and this way, I use it just to display quickly the translation of the in this case the German term on the list on side-by-side view. And this is of course very helpful because you get a very quick idea on how your terms are. Okay, the English and the German. If I want to say the English and the Swedish, of course, I can just change the language, and then this updates my right side column so that you can see that the basic data is now, okay, it's Underlag. That's the Swedish translation. And when I click on it, it also is in focus on my result window. Please note also that we have now mark. This is another new function where everything that is in focus in the result window is also highlighted in my term list. So in this case, Underlag, and you can see the yellow highlight in the background. If I click basic data in my result window, then this turns into focus, and I can see it marked now on my term list on the, of course, the English side. So this is one very useful function, the split view, because very quickly I can see my terms in these two languages. But we took it one more step further, and actually what we do is we can also search in both the languages, in both languages at the same time. So we have display and search choice, and now it not only I search in like before in the English and see the matches of my Swedish term, but now I can actually search in both on both sides, on both languages at the same time. So for instance, now if I search again, this is already applied, data, show me all terms that have data in them. You note in the result, for instance, we have the English ones here that connect data, but we also have some Swedish ones that have the word data in them. And if you want to see, if I just search, for instance, on a Swedish word, let's say dataöverföring, just to make it to see how we search on both columns. So I just do föring, and now you will see that I find, of course, this is a Swedish word. So now I'm searching and I'm finding the Swedish matches. These are the ones, and also, of course, the English corresponding English terms. Now, this is a very, very interesting function because it allows us to search in more than one language at the same time. So imagine that you have a brand name or a product name written in Latin characters, or like English brand name. But this brand name appears not only in the English language, but also as part of, let's say, your Japanese terms. Where you mix some Latin characters with your Japanese characters. This function allows you to search in both the English language and also in the, for instance, the Japanese or any other language that you have in your system at the same time, and find the terms where this specific product name or whatever relevant in your case exists, just with one search. So it's very, very powerful. To not use this function, or when I don't want to have this split view, I simply go here, select disable, and you can see already now that we only have one column available. I close it, I can make it a bit smaller, and I can also go back because I obviously only had the English language now selected, so that's why we didn't find anything. So this is the side-by-side split view for the term list, for displaying term matches, but also for displaying and searching in one or more languages at the same time. Very, very powerful new function for the 3.18 version that is already available for our customers. Now, we have done another cool thing, and this has to do with filters. TermWeb was the first system to have very advanced and flexible filters implemented. And of course, as TermWeb users, you already know that. Now, you can create, all the fields are available in your hands, and you can create different operations. So for instance, let's check this filter that we have here, the forestry terms. Let's see how it looks like. Well, it says that the name of the filter, show me all the terms from the domain that equals forestry. Okay, it's domain in our term base. So okay, let's this, for as a TermWeb user, this is all well known for you. Let's apply this, and note here what happens. I apply. Look, there is a check mark here suddenly. Okay, this now shows us that this filter is selected, and then I say okay. Now this 20,000 term base that we are currently using is filtered out, and we only see about the relevant 104, as you can see down here. 104 terms are matching. So these 104 terms, like Aspen or well, these specific terms are the ones that are in the forestry domain. Okay, so well, that is interesting. Now, let's say, but I would like to filter even more because I know that some of these terms have a German translation, but some don't, or majority, I would say, don't. But you see, for instance, this controlled burning. Okay, remember this term, controlled burning. This has a German term. Now, let's say that I want to add one more filter in this. So already I have a filter. It says, show me all forestry terms. But I want to add another filter, which is also filter out the terms that are missing a German term. This is this filter here. So what I am doing now, I simply apply, and I simply, now let's say again it's checked, and I say okay. So what happened now? Well, you see now, maybe you don't see yet, but the term that we had before has gone from the list. You can also see that we only have 72 terms, 72. These are the ones that are missing a German term. So what have we done? We have first we filtered out, so we only see the forestry terms, and then we applied even one other filter so that we filter out all the filter, and we see only the terms that are missing a German term in this case. Another very powerful function, because this allows us to instead to create fewer filters and combine them, instead of having to create new filters all the time. So I can create some of the filters and then combine them together to pinpoint exactly, even faster and easier than before, the terms that are relevant for my needs. And what happens if I don't want to? And I can apply as many as I want. I can just simply continue and apply more and apply this and so on. And it will be a combination of all the filters that are to be applied at the same time. Again, you realize that now with this allows me to create fewer filters, but by combining them, I can have many more combinations and filter out results. Extremely powerful. This is also new function that we created for 3.18. So now I'm simply checking off the filters, and now I'm back to the unfiltered results. So you see the whole list again without any marking in the background. Again, one more very useful function, the combination of filters. We also in 3.18 included yet another functionality which has to do with double-byte and single-byte characters. That is actually a very tricky thing, because for instance, Japanese characters, you can sometimes use these double bytes. In Latin, it's a lot of single bytes, and then you want to have a way of combining these two, so that when I search with my Latin characters, for instance, I also have the capacity or the functionality available for me, so that I search in both the single byte and the double byte characters, because they both can be in the term base. So what I do now is that I simply go into this cogwheel and I enable normalized search. This will actually make it possible to search in both single byte and double byte characters in one go, in the same go. And as in a cooking show, I've already prepared, so we already have a term that was created using double byte characters, and so I will just search for it. And actually, let's see, it's 2003. You can see here. This is now I'm using my usual keyboard and writing 2003 star, but this is actually the result that you see here is actually a double byte character. So it was written with a Japanese settings keyboard. Now, and you say, oh, but what is the difference? Well, if I do the same thing and I do not have this on, now I'm back to searching the usual way, which is on the single byte characters. This is the way that TermWeb has been working before, just single byte characters, and it would not find any double byte characters that would have been entered. Now we solve this, and we solve this for many customers that we have, many users, specifically in Japanese to start with. And this is actually very useful, because in such an environment where you have a mix of both single byte and double bytes, now with this setting, which actually you see it's very simple, I just simply enable it. I press here and I enable it. I just use my usual keyboard and I find everything. Well, I find regardless if it's a single byte or a double byte. I'm doing a search in both at the same time. Again, another new feature, a very powerful one. Aside these main features, we have also done a lot of bug fixes, which you will also notice. We have also set some more new functionalities, like the capacity to clear search on language change, which means that when I have this checked, let's remove this, and I change the language here. Let's take it to Swedish. Note that the search term is now gone, and this is just for those of you who like this way. This is now possible. If you don't have this option checked, as you remember, let's say 2018 for some reason, and let's say that I have this option now unchecked. And then I say, well, let's switch to English. You see that the term here, the search term, will remain. It is not getting emptied. And another thing that we added yet is the way to have this property. Now we are moving down the cogwheel and down here to actually choose if we want to show markings for visited terms or not. So what does this mean? Well, if I have this enabled like this, every term that I am visiting, like this, you see that there is a check mark on the side of it, and of course the highlight that we have now, and it just keeps adding. So that is a way of saying, okay, these are the terms that I visited now or today. I can of course clear, as you very well know, by using this little rubber here down here. And so it's up to me if I want to have this function on, or if I simply disable it, and then I don't have these markings on the side. It's just if you are a matter of preference. That's it. This is main features of 3.18. I hope that you find them useful. And again, you can find the release notes and the latest upgrades. As you know, TermWeb is one of the most upgraded and updated system on the market, with a lot of continuous bug fixes, but also adding of new features, as you can see here. And you can find more information on support.termweb.se. As a TermWeb user, you already know this place. Which is a very good start to see what has happened since the last update and where I can find my release and where is my update. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for joining in. And if you have any questions or something more that you would like to see, or if you are curious or interested in TermWeb, just get in touch. Just go to our website, intervermtech.com, and you will find the information there and contact information to us. Many thanks again for your time. Bye-bye.